Ես որ մեծանամ դառնալու եմ բժշկուհի։ Ես ուզում եմ դառնալ նկարիչ։ Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ դառնալ ճարտարապետ։ Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ դառնալ ծրագրող։ Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ աշխարհը տեսնել։ Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ դառնալ ինժեներ։
Ես դառնալու եմ բուժքույր։
Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ դառնալ ոստիկան։
Ես դառնալու եմ նկարիչ, ֆոտոնկարիչ եւ հագուստի դիզայներ։
Ես դառնալու եմ իրավաբան։
Ես որ մեծանամ ուզում եմ դառնալ նախագահ։
But apart from that, we're also celebrating the International UWC Day. And the topic of this year's celebration is Inspired Changes. So we thought that it would be great to celebrate the UWC International Day by talking to change makers who make impact on local, national, and international levels across the world. And today we're very, very excited to introduce to you Arusik Zeynalyan, who is the fellow at Teach for Armenia and who is currently teaching in a village in Lori region of Armenia. And she is an English teacher. I also have my colleague Veronica Gevorkyan, who is going to help us interview Arusik today. Hi, Veronica.
Hello.
And hi, Arusik, and welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start by you, Arusik, telling us a little bit, first of all, what is Teach for Armenia for those who don't know?
So Teach for Armenia is an organization that recruits leaders and experts in different fields and sends them to work in remote villages of Armenia for 2 years. They are supported by Teach for Armenia throughout the whole journey, and the fellows, what they try to do in the villages is to teach the subject that they are fluent in, and they also try to raise new leaders of Armenia. Teach for Armenia is a part of a global organization that's called Teach for All. It's a partner to Teach for All. And there are other 46 Teach for in the world. So there are Teach for America, Teach for Ukraine, and in many other countries. So this one is in Armenia, and I'm very excited to be a part of this organization, to be honest, because I really like what I do.
And can you tell a little bit about yourself? What were you doing before and how you decided to become part of TFA?
I was born and raised in Moscow, Russia. I studied international relations at Moscow State Institute of International Relations. I soon realized during my second year at the university that I didn't want to do anything with the politics. So I started searching what else would I want to do in my life. So by the end of my 4th year, I realized I would want to work in the field of child protection. So I applied and got into master's degree in London. It was called International Child Studies Master Program. My dissertation was on inclusive education in Armenia because I wanted to move back to Armenia right after my master's degree. And I realized that I would want to work in that particular field, in protection and promotion of inclusive education in Armenia. And I did move to Armenia right after my master's degree, but then I had to go back to Moscow because of some family issues. And I was searching for new ways to come back to Armenia, and that's when I decided to join Teach for Armenia, to try to join it, because I applied and was just excited to see if it's gonna work, if I would get in, and then if I would be able to move to Armenia at that point in my life. And I'm very happy that I was able to do so.
What were your biggest challenges in the beginning?
Well, my biggest challenge was to to be separated from my parents, honestly. But then my second biggest challenge was my Armenian, because I spoke Armenian and I could read and write, but my writing and reading skills were very poor, and I needed Armenian a lot because I had to fill in the journals at school, and it was very difficult. Everyone would help me to do so. They would tell me what letter I should write and so on, and it was kind of difficult to live in a new settings. Like, it was a village life, and then there were a lot of unknown people, but that was actually the exciting part. I never thought of it as a challenge. It was very exciting. I liked it a lot, and after some time my Armenian got better, so I can speak and write and read more fluently now, and I really enjoy my progress in Armenian, and I like the fact that I can use it as an example for my students, that it's never too late to start learning something that you don't know, especially a language, because they didn't have an English teacher for some time, and some of them think that it's too late for them to begin if they like in 7th or 8th grade. So I've always used it as an example for them. I think those were my two biggest challenges.
Can you tell a little bit more about the community, about the village, about the life?
Okay, so my village is actually a Russian one. It is very funny. I think I got there by accident. Because like everyone speaks Russian there, and it's very good for me because I spoke very bad in Armenian, and it was created in the 19th century, so it's a very old one. It has a very beautiful Russian church that was built in the middle of 19th century, and it actually worked up until the earthquake in Armenia. Now it is very damaged and it is closed, but we have a lot of tourists who come and take pictures because it is very beautiful and unique. And I think it shapes the identity of our village a lot. Our village is like, it has Armenians, it has Russians, it has Yazidis, it has Kurds. It's not homogeneous. I think it's cool because kids are exposed to different cultures, and they don't see a lot of from the early childhood they learn to accept one another, which is very cool, especially in Armenian when most of the communities are very homogeneous. It is kind of small village. Our school has only 60 students, but it is a very beautiful village in the mountains of Armenia, and the people are very friendly and accepting. I really like being a part of that community.
And you came up with this great project that also got a lot of attention and was talked and written about a lot. Can you tell us how the library project started?
So actually the idea of the library came in the first week of my being in the community, because once I had to give out the books to my students, I entered the library, the very small room in our school. It was filled with books all over the place. The books were on the floor, on the windows, on the shelves, and most of the books were very old, gray, and there were a lot of other stuff in the room that didn't belong to a library. So when I saw that space, I was very sad, because I immediately remembered the library I had at King's College London that was so inspiring, and that motivated you to study more, to do more, to research more, to read another book, and just to do something in your life and be useful to other people. I remembered that, and I saw the picture in front of me, and I was very sad because I realized the kids in the community didn't have, like, they didn't have the space that could inspire them. And I knew how inspiring just one room could be. That thought, it came and it stayed in me. So in a few days, I just talked to my principal. I was just trying to understand what she wanted and what she was thinking about. I asked her if she would like to renovate the library, and she was very supportive. She said yes, that she wanted to do that too for some time, but she didn't have the finances. And I just asked her if I could try to do something about that, and she said yes. So that's when everything started. And then I was approaching a few organizations that I knew that they were doing renovations of the libraries in Armenia. And once I had some information, some opportunities, I approached my principal again. And when she realized that I wasn't joking about doing something, she said, you know, actually, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to renovate that particular room. I want to renovate our school hall and make it into a library, a reading room, and a school hall. Like, so it would have three functions in one room. And that room was twice as big as the actual library, and it was amazing. I was really excited that we would have more space to work with, and that's when I realized I would need a help from an architect or a designer to help me organize the space in a way that all the three functions would work perfectly, and they would fit, and they would just enrich one another. So for 2 weeks I was in search of that architect or designer, and that's when I suddenly remembered about Haik Zelibekan, an amazing architect who moved back from Moscow as well a few years ago. And I approached him and I messaged him, and he was very supportive. He said yes right away. So that's when our one little thought started to grow bigger and bigger, and got its shape of a space that's not only about reading and providing a space to sit and read, but also to learn, to teach, to dream and to dare, and to discover oneself. And that's when I realized there is no point of going back, because I realized it was something I was ready to fight for, because once the design of the room was ready, I realized that it would cost a lot of money, and it did cost us a lot of money. And I realized that it would take much more effort to do that project, but I was willing to do so, because I could imagine the impact that it could have on the children. And also Haik was there, and he didn't stop once the design was ready. He was there all the way. He was supportive during the crowdfunding project, and when we were doing the renovation works themselves. And then every single step, he was with me, and his support meant a lot. And I think that it's because we worked together and we both believed in what we were doing. It was the success that we can experience now.
How did the community react to your idea? Did they help you?
As I told you, the principal was very supportive from the very beginning. My students, they didn't believe me at first, so I didn't tell them about the project up until we uploaded the crowdfunding campaign, because I didn't want to set their hopes high and then tell them, okay, it's not going to happen. So I waited until November, when we started our crowdfunding campaign. And when I showed them the pictures of the design, and when I told them, we're going to have this library, some of them were excited, but they couldn't believe that it would they would be like, okay, that's great, but we'll see. And some of them were really strong in their disbelief. I had a student who told me it's not going to happen. You can't do that. my first reaction was like, why do you think so? And she answered me that there were a lot of people who came to the village and said that they would do something, but they never did anything, and they just left, and that she didn't believe anyone anymore. And she repeated her phrase that, like, you can't do that. And that was when I got angry, and I told her, no one can say what I can or cannot do. I can do, like, I decide what I can do, and I want to do this library, so it's going to happen. And it was amazing when in 6 months after the opening of the library, we were sitting in the library and doing something there, and she just said, you know, now I want to do something for this community. Like, I want to discuss what I can do myself. And that was amazing, because that's the biggest thing that we could achieve in the community, showing our kids that there is no such thing as a status quo, and only they decide what's going to happen in their community. They either accept what they have from their childhood, from when they were born, or they try to change it if they don't like it and make it better. And I hope that the whole journey we had with the building of the library and opening the library, it was an example for them how you can do that, having no money, having no ties with anyone, just having the enthusiasm to do something and just believing in something that's bigger than you. And actually also, as for the other members of the community, they were really supportive as well. And we tried to engage kids in the community as much as we could. So during the renovation works, or when we were cleaning up the room before the opening, deciding where to put the books, how to organize the books, uploading the books in our computer program, and every little, in every step, we tried to engage everyone from the everyone who we could engage at that point.
And how does the library impact the community life now?
To be honest, I think it's a bit too soon to talk about the impact, but I already feel that that something has changed in the students. They became more active and independent. For example, during the summer, they would organize absolutely independently shows and performances, and they would just call me and invite me, you know, we have this thing, we want you there, could you come? And invite everyone you want. So we would go there and we would sit there and see the performance that kids would organize in just one day, just because they were excited about something and they wanted to express it. And it was amazing because you could see how just having that space that gave you the physical space itself, and then the space that encouraged them. They started doing a lot of things that they never did before, or they did it because teachers asked them to do that, or because it was obligatory or something, and now they're doing it on their own. And also I think that kids became more accepting, because there are, despite the fact that they're exposed to different cultures from their early childhood, they're still very, they have these groups and they fight with each other all the time. And I think it's in the Armenian culture to separate us from one another, or you're from here and you're from there. And once they had this one common space, because our library is not just a school library, it is at school, but it is a community library. And we also have 7 more communities around our village that are engaged in the life of our library. I could see how kids that would fight during the classes, they would sit in the library and play with each other, or organize performances, and it was really cool. I don't think that they realize what's happening with them, but do believe that the changes are happening in them, and that would be more obvious in a few years maybe. And my biggest hope, as I already said, that is that I would like to see how kids realize their dreams and realize the projects that they have in their minds now. Because before, when I was asking them if they had a dream, most of them would say no, or I've never thought about it. And now they're thinking, and sometimes they share the project or the ideas that they have. They come up and tell me that they want to do something. Can you teach me do this and that? I want to do this. And I'm really excited about that, because I wanted them to be awakened, because they have this huge potential, each and every one, but they don't care about it. And it's the saddest part, is like, they don't care if they can or cannot do anything. They don't care if they can change anything. They just think that, okay, this is my life. I was born in this village, and most of the time girls get married after schools and boys go to Russia to work and earn a living. And that's probably what's going to happen with my life. And what I wanted for my kids from the very first day is that they realized that they had a choice, and it would be okay to stay in the village and work there and get married and do everything you wanted, as long as it was your own choice, not because you thought, okay, it's my destiny, I was born here and there is nothing else I can do or achieve in my life. And actually it is great to stay in the village and make it a better place, make it brighter, make it help the school to have better conditions for new students who will come in a few years, and improve it in any way. But it had to be like, I want them to know that it's their choice. It's not just accident that they were born there. And I hope that with time they'll realize that they do have choice, and that they can stay in the village and make it a better place. Just like we had this idea of building a library, and we did it, and we did it together. It's not like I did it or Haik did it. We did it together, because if it wasn't for the kids who inspired us, if it wasn't for the principal who supported us all the way, if it wasn't for everyone who contributed financially to our project, it wouldn't happen. And it happened from nothing, just our dream. And I hope they'll start dreaming. I hope that they realize that they have a say in what their life will turn out to be.
What did this project give you personally?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think, as much as I wanted this project to be a good example for my kids, proving that everything is possible when you want to do that, it was actually that good example for me too, because as long as I remember myself, I've always been full of doubts and full of fears. And when I started that, I was just doing it because I was excited and I wanted to do that, but I was still very, very afraid if I could really do that happen. And after it was all done, I think I always, like everyone said, everything is possible, like you can do everything, only you set your limits. Like, these are very beautiful words, but they mean nothing if they're like not coming from inside of you, if they're coming from outside. And I think this project gave me that, like, it's now my knowledge, it's my experience. I really know that I can do everything that I want to do. If I don't do something, it's just because I don't want to do it, or I don't want to do it that much. And I truly believe that daring is what we're here, is why we're here on earth. Daring to daring to dream big, daring to be bold in our dreams and in our actions, daring to push our limits and do whatever it takes that makes us happy. I have a few ideas at this moment. I think that if I had those ideas a year ago, I would just think, okay, I would wait for some time, maybe it will happen and maybe not. And now I just know that if I sit and if I work on them, that will happen. I only need to understand how much I want to do those things, how much I want to realize those projects. And that's one of the biggest things that I earned. I gained from this project, and I'm really grateful for that, because I think I needed it as much as my students did.
Thank you so much. It's really, really inspiring to hear, like, it's always inspiring to hear when someone had the idea and just like put work into it and made it happen. And my question would be, if anyone is about to start a similar project or a project of a similar scale, what would you advise them? Like, what to concentrate on, what to be ready for, or what would you advise to yourself a year ago or a year and a half ago?
Oh, I would probably advise to just keep on believing. It might sound very cheesy, but that's what I think is very important. You have to be enthusiastic all the way. And during our project, we had some moments when I felt stuck. There were points when we couldn't collect the rest of the money, and we were trying new things and they wouldn't work, and I didn't know what to do for a few days and even weeks. And it was very difficult for me because I knew that I had to make this work, but I didn't know how to do that at that point. But I was still working. I was still doing what I wanted to do. We were continuing our renovation works, even though we didn't have all the money. I was connecting everyone who I thought could want to contribute to our project. And then a new door opened. And I think it is really important to keep on believing, knowing that, and being ready for challenges and failures. Once you know that the failures will be there and you'd feel stuck, and knowing that those are the moments when you have to believe more. And I do believe that believing is a physical act. It's when you sit and you force yourself to continue believing and not getting frustrated. It's a physical act and nothing else. You do that at those moments, and then you just continue doing what you believe in, knowing that at some point another door will open and you'll be able to finish your project, because you're working, and if you never give up, something that you're working for will happen. I do believe that. So I would suggest anyone who has an idea and wanna realize it to write down those two words: believe, not two, but believe in your idea till the end. Nothing can stop you if you believe it.
If I correct me if I'm wrong, but you still have a year at the school, right?
Yes, I do have another year at the school.
What are your plans beyond that year? Are you planning to stay in education or in school or teaching or?
I do plan to stay in the educational field, and I do want to stay in Armenia. That's my original plan. But I'm not sure that what I'm gonna do after the school. There are a few ideas that I'm considering, but I think it's a bit too soon because I want to concentrate on what I can do at school in this year. So we'll see how it goes. I believe that something interesting will come up, and that we also, I don't know if you know that, but we launched an NGO, and we're spreading our libraries across Armenia. So that's one of the things that I'm focused on now too. And after I'm done with the fellowship, I'll probably involved in the project even deeper, because at this moment I don't have a lot of time, but I'm doing the best I can. And I have a lot of, like, at this moment we're just spreading the libraries around across Armenia, but I have a few other ideas of what we can do with our NGO. So I think after I'm done with the fellowship, I'll be able to concentrate on those ideas and maybe do something more than just building those libraries, even though I believe that it's already a very good thing. I still believe that we can do more and we can do it differently. So I will try to work on those projects and find a job that that would allow me to contribute to the educational field of Armenia as much as I can, because I really believe that changes come from within the educational system, and we have a lot of challenges in our educational system, and it is scary, but it's also very exciting to work in this field and make it making it a better system for our students and our new generations, because they do deserve the best education.
Thank you so much. I've been following the library project from the very beginning, and I'm very grateful for having a chance to learn more from you there directly. And I think it's very, very inspiring, and it's a fantastic example of how we can really without having the tremendous resources, just believe in what we want to achieve and just make this huge, huge change. Thank you so much, Arusik.
Thank you so much for everything.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.